The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Dubby's products are made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom-made by Dubby, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. Dubby's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. Dubby Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. It is the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a Wednesday morning. Got my guy Gary Bryant already tuned into the show. Gary B19 tuning in, saying good morning, Tip. Good morning to everyone that is going to be joining the show here in just a little bit. Shout out to people who are tuned in over on Instagram. The Homemeister and Charles Johnson 507. Thank you all so much for being a part of today's show. We got NBA playoff stuff we're going to be talking about. We've got some National Hockey League that we're going to be talking about. But we're going to start off here in a place where I love to hate to start off all the time, and that is with Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, who earlier today, or yesterday as a matter of fact, said that he was going to make quote-unquote substantive moves regarding the draft with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we do know, as a group of Dallas Cowboys fans, we do know that Jerry Jones does like to make moves on trade day or on draft day, right? Like, he's made a ton of trades in the past on draft day. I want to say since 1989, he's made 72 draft day trades. So he's putting in some work when it comes to these draft day trades. The last time they traded a first-round pick, though, was in 2021. They traded back with Philadelphia. They wind up still drafting Micah Parsons. Everything turns out well for the Dallas Cowboys. Gary Bryant saying they need to get Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones liquored up a day before the draft and go lock them up somewhere. It's Green Bay, so I don't know if there's a whole lot of places to get liquored up in Green Bay. I would have agreed with that if it was whenever they were in Vegas. Like, I could see that. Like, you just let them go party as hard as physically possible. That's okay, Jerry. If you miss the draft, we'll be all right. We've got this. We don't need you to be here the entire time. But Jerry Jones, I'm interested to see. Because if you say, quote unquote, we're going to make substantive trades, substantive moves for the Dallas Cowboys, as JR Bowers 27 tunes into the show right now. If you say that you're going to make substantive moves, it means that you're going to do a big splash. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, drafting back or trading back to like the mid-20s or something like that isn't going to be something that gets me excited. But then I also have to remind myself that this is the same team that just last year during this time frame, during free agency, during all that stuff, looked me in the eyes and said, we're going to go all in. The Dallas Cowboys didn't go all in. So now it makes me wonder, what the hell is Dallas going to do? They've got $37 million in cap that they can still use. They're more than likely going to sign Micah Parsons to his long-term deal, which is what they've been wanting to do, which is what the fans have been wanting the Dallas Cowboys to do. It really does make you wonder, right? Like what can the Dallas Cowboys do here if they're going to trade? Drafting at number 12. The Crooked Commish saying, Money Mike, what's good? What's good with you, Crooked Commish? Hope that you are doing fantastic today. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We are also live on national streaming sports platform on Roku. No longer live on X. Decided yesterday wasn't going to start doing any more with the X stream. Always gave me weird numbers, so I didn't know. I wanted to judge it more off of YouTube, Facebook. So we'll go off of those ones. Those are going to be the main ones that we care about. Cricket Commish, what are your thoughts on hearing that the Dallas Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, has said, and GM and president and all of that good stuff? His thoughts on, we're going to make substantive moves. Gary, Tommy, I want to see your thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys saying they're going to make substantive moves coming up here on trade day. We are a little over 24 hours away from the NFL I was going to say trade deadline, NFL Draft Day 1. That's going to be held in Green Bay, Wisconsin. We will be live on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton tomorrow for a special impromptu show. I guess it's not impromptu, for a special show that we're going to be doing out at Twin Peaks. The show will start roughly 6:30 or so, kind of go along with the NFL draft. I've got all of my NFL draft stuff up and ready to go. I'll be doing my NFL draft mock draft tomorrow on tomorrow's show as well. The Crooked Commish saying, bye-bye, Elon. Bye-bye. Ha-ha. Gary Bryant saying the rumor has it that they're looking at Courtland Sutton, George Pickens, Trevin Burks at wide receiver, then Ramsey from Miami or Alexander out of Green Bay. But I don't know if they'll do anything like that. I think it's foolery, tomfoolery being afoot in Dallas with the Dallas Cowboys. Mireya Reyes saying Dallas can commit. They want to pretend to cherry pick here and there just for excitement in their life. Sounds like a midlife crisis for the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are now me, driving around in a convertible Mustang, not even going fast, just hanging out, having myself a good old time. I don't think I'm going through a midlife crisis. I've always liked Mustangs. The Crooked Commish saying, sounds like some trades on draft day or Jerry just keeping the Cowboys in everyone's mouth, keeping the D, the big D, in everybody's mouth. Something that Jerry Jones is really good at. Pause. Tommy Canazza saying it's all BS. That man stays talking that crap. I don't believe anything he says. Man, Tommy Canazza has been so jaded. I thought I was the pessimistic one. So jaded since that Luka Doncic trade. Tommy, it's okay. We got you. This is a welcoming community. We are all here for you. We got nothing but love for you, my guy. There you go. Gary Bryant saying they whiffed on wide receivers other than CeeDee Lamb, so this is why they're looking at established receivers. Oh, The other guy was wide receiver Jameson Williams, the wide receiver from the Lions. It's hard for me to see the Dallas Cowboys trading with teams within the conference, but I guess it can happen. They're so far behind the Lions, behind the Packers. I could see the George Pickens trade, but then that would be really weird from Pittsburgh, unless Pittsburgh's trying to move up because they feel they can get Shedeur Sanders at number 12. Like maybe I can see something like that happening. Is George Pickens worth a first-round pick? It would have to be George Pickens, a pick, and something else, right, for the Dallas Cowboys to make that trade. And this, of course, is me assuming that the Dallas Cowboys are going to trade that first-round pick. I should have zero faith in this team doing everything. And there you go. The Steelers don't have a second pick. So maybe it'd be Pickens and some other stuff. I don't know. Maybe building for the future that you would get from the Pittsburgh Steelers if they're doing that. The Cricket Commissioner saying, I want to hug Tommy like Robin Williams did to Matt Damon. LOL. It's not your fault. The safe place that this has become. The safe place that this has become. Gary Bryant, I did understand it was a second-round pick. Thank you, though. I always love whenever people give me that they might have had a typo in there. No worries at all. This is a judgment-free zone. A judgment-free zone, kind of like Planet Fitness. A judgment-free zone. The Dallas Cowboys are known to make moves on draft day. That's one of the things that they do a lot of. I just don't know if I'm buying all of the hype around what they're doing. Shout out to John Farrell, TK Stack Money, Walker12300, tuning in over on Instagram as well. Gary Bryant saying the Steelers would get Dallas' second and Dallas would get a fourth from Pittsburgh. So it's safe to say George Pickens would be worth a second-round pick. Do we all think that George Pickens would be worth a second-round pick for the Dallas Cowboys? What if the Dallas Cowboys went after Jalen Ramsey, right? Like, what are they trading for Jalen Ramsey? Because this is the thing that we also have to remember, right? The Dallas Cowboys have 10 draft picks stocked up in this draft, a ton of fifth-round draft picks stocked up in this draft as well that they got as compensatory picks for whatever it was that they've done to deserve those compensatory picks. So the Dallas Cowboys have a lot of draft capital in this year's NFL draft. So it would behoove them to try to move some of it around and maybe get some already established players like Gary Bryant to saying. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see the Dallas Cowboys wheeling and dealing, but I want to see names, right? Like in the past, the Cowboys, like it was what? Trey Lance, Jonathan Mingo, Brandon Cooks, Stephon Gilmore. I like the Stephon Gilmore trade, but I want to see a name. I want to see a guy that you know is going to come in onto this team and make a huge impact, a huge difference for this team. If we're talking NFL draft day trades, it's got to be something like that. Gary Bryant saying Ramsey, a fifth-round pick, but Miami would have to agree to take some of Ramsey's $30 million contract. That's also a part of it. Ramsey is only guaranteed $16 million this year. So if he were to join the Dallas Cowboys, it would be on a $16 million hit to the salary cap. Mireya Reyes saying they can't commit. The Dallas Cowboys can't commit. The Dallas Cowboys with their commitment issues. Are we ever going to sign Micah Parsons? It really does sound like a soap opera, doesn't it? On the next, as the world turns with the Dallas Cowboys, can this team finally commit? And the answer is more than likely going to be no. Actually, we know that they are going to commit. They have a history of being able to re-sign their stars. They're going to find a way to get the deal with Micah Parsons done. I'm not going to be pessimistic about that. What I am pessimistic about, though, is what does Jerry Jones consider substantive, right? We saw what all in means to Jerry Jones, and all in wasn't a whole bunch. So what does substantive mean for Jerry Jones? Gary Bryant saying Diggs is on his way out post June 1st cut if they sign a veteran cornerback. Man, that's such a tough one for me. I don't know Stephon Diggs or Trayvon Diggs. Wow, Stephon Diggs' brother. I don't know Trayvon Diggs' contract, so I want to look it up here. Okay. So let's see. They signed him to a 5-year, $97 million deal. His cap hit in 2025 would be 12.5 mil. Okay, so we're solid on that. I want to see what his dead cap would be if he were to be cut by the Dallas Cowboys. That's my biggest question here, is what would his dead cap be? So his dead cap this year would be $17.5 or $17.8 million. That's still workable. That's still workable. If you cut him, you just lose an additional $5 million in cap. But why would you make that? Like why would you do that, right? Gary Bryant saying they would sign DeRon Bland to a long-term deal. The Crooked Committee saying all in was all of 2 inches. I still think that was giving it too much. Like we've already said it on this show a bunch of times. Jerry Jones says that he's going to do something substantive. That's awesome. We've also witnessed that all in for him to go into his glory hole was not impressive at all. It's almost like that friend that you got with the very deep voice, size 13 shoes, and whenever he pulls his pants down, you're super unimpressed. Wait, did I just talk about myself? Damn it. That's a joke, guys. It's very impressive. Very impressive. It is too early in the morning to be talking like this on Roku via National Streaming Sports, on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all the places that you can get the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. Now, there's a part of me that would like to see the Dallas Cowboys, because this is when I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be their best, is if they have a deep cornerback core, right? Like if you're deep in the secondary, that's when the Dallas Cowboys can be their best. If you allow Trayvon Diggs to kind of be someone like a free safety where he's just kind of roaming out there, I think that that's best for him, because we've seen the biggest knock on Trayvon Diggs is that he's not a good cover corner, right? Like he's not the guy that you could say is a cover corner. But if you move him into like a nickel position, somewhere like that, I think that that's going to be what's best for him. Like I wouldn't get rid of him. He has such a knack of getting the ball that I wouldn't get rid of Trayvon Diggs if I'm the Dallas Cowboys. I can see a scenario where they do it. I just wouldn't do it. Not this year. Tommy Canazza saying, guys, he's trying to be the voice of reason here. Guys, the Cowboys aren't gonna make any significant moves. They might trade for a former first-round pick that hasn't done S in the league, SMH. I'm not used to this. This is pessimistic, Tommy Carranza. I thought when did we trade positions here? I thought we were supposed to have a meeting, like a show meeting. I'm going to be optimistic guy. You can be pessimistic guy. We didn't have that meeting. Is that what it is, Tommy? We didn't have the meeting, and now you're like, you know what? F it. Gary Bryant saying substantive means to have a firm grip on reality to what is important. Jerry Jones is far from that. Jerry Jones not having a grip on reality seems like the most realistic thing that we have all ever come across in our life. Jerry Jones having a far cry away from what the reality of real life can be. I get it. Again, and I feel like the pessimism surrounding the Dallas Cowboys, the pessimism that's all over there in that locker room surrounding that franchise over the last 30 years, it's all been warranted, right? Because we've heard Jerry Jones talk time and time and time again about how he's going to go all in, or how the Dallas Cowboys are right there. They're right on the cusp of being one of the best teams in the NFL, and they just don't seem to do it. If there's a team that would get a trophy for being the most disappointing team in the NFL, it would be the Dallas Cowboys over this last 30-year span. Mireya Reyes saying maybe, just maybe, Tommy is seeing the light. Mireya has been on a crusade type of venture to try to get me and other people to leave the Dallas Cowboys fan base. That's not going to happen. Gary Bryant saying he's not a zone corner, which is what Eberflus primarily runs. Cover 2, 3/4, some man-to-man. I could see that. I feel like he does better in zone, though. I think the man-to-man is where he normally gets rocked. Tommy Kanata saying, I have zero faith in Jerry that the players will win, but it won't have S to do with Jerry. I have zero faith in Jerry. The players will win, but it has zero to do with Jerry. Okay, I got that. I had to read through it a couple of times for me to be able to understand what it was that you were saying. You can see the dyslexia working right there as I was trying to read. I needed to go to the Derek Zoolander School for Children Who Can't Read Good. And I never got my scholarship to go, guys. I apologize. If I butcher your sentences, it's my fault. It's not yours. You're perfect. All of you are special. You are, to me. To me, all of you are special. Man. You make a good point, Gary, about the type of defense that Eberflus runs. I'm also off the bandwagon the second you mentioned that we have Matt Eberflus as the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. The Dallas Cowboys did make a couple of trades this year already. I don't know how to feel about them. I'm optimistic, right? I'm trying to be optimistic about it. I like the Kenneth Murray trade. Kaiir Elam, though, I'm kind of iffy on. But again, they're addressing needs. They needed help at linebacker. They needed help on the defensive line. They needed help on the offensive line. Now I think what they need is a big, splashy name. I want to see them, if they are going to make a substantive move on draft day, I want to see them get a wide receiver. Even if there's a way that you can stay at 12 and draft Ted McMillan, I'd be happy. If you make a trade and bring in like an Aaron Jones or someone like that at running back, I'd be happy, because what the Dallas Cowboys have right now at running back is like if you and I were in the backfield running the ball. I could probably get 10 yards a game behind the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. No touchdowns. I'd be stopped yay short from getting a touchdown. Gary Bryant saying, yep, but why are we talking Jerry and not Steven? Steven is worse than Jerry, but Jerry is in front of the cameras while Steven lurks in the shadows. Steven shouldn't get a pass. Tommy Kanatsa saying, I have more faith in this coaching staff than I do in the front office of the Dallas Cowboys. Wow. That is a damning couple of statements right there. Talking about Stephen Jones lurking in the shadows, he shouldn't get a pass. I don't think he does get a pass, right? Like Jerry Jones is obviously the meat shield of the Dallas Cowboys, but that's because he's so much more front-facing. If Stephen Jones was doing all the talk, all the stuff that Jerry was doing, then yes, he would get, I believe, eviscerated the same way that Jerry Jones gets eviscerated. However, he's not the one who's in front of the cameras. It's always Jerry who's in front of the cameras. Maybe be a good son, step in front of the camera one of these days, stop your dad from sounding like a crazy old man whenever he's talking about glory holes. And maybe, just maybe, you can be the one to take over that glory hole from your daddy. Phrasing. And then Tommy saying that he has more faith in the coaching staff than he does in the front office. That is wild to me, because again, and now it sounds like I'm being the Jerry Jones apologist here. Jesus, I hate whenever y'all put me into this role where I have to be the guy that defends Jerry Jones. He's been a good executive with the Dallas Cowboys. Again, They've built a team that whenever you look at them on paper, you sit there and say, this is a very talented team. They should be able to be in the playoffs. A couple of years ago, we were talking about the Dallas Cowboys as a legitimate Super Bowl contender, not one of those, oh, it's going to be our year type of people, but as an actual Super Bowl contender. He's built a roster that I think is solid enough to make the playoffs, high end of the team. But as we've seen, there's some mental obstacles here with the Dallas Cowboys that they're not able to overcome. It's not all on Jerry Jones, guys. It's not all on Jerry Jones. Gary Brandt saying, yep, if you need 3 yards for a first down, I can get you that. If you need 5 yards for a first down, I'll get you 3. That's one of my favorite adages in sports. Whenever you got that guy who's like, you know what? I can get you 3 yards. It was basically Frank Gore Sr. Frank Gore Sr., you knew you were going to get 3 yards at a time. 3 yards and a pile of dust is what Frank Gore was going to bring you here whenever he was running things with the Bills and the 49ers and all of them. 3 yards and a pile of dust. Medea Reyes saying Aaron Jones will never be a Cowboy. On another note, paper teams don't win games. I agree with that 100%. You have to be able to put it all together, right? But at the beginning of the year, you would have looked at the Dallas Cowboys. Again, they were in the playoffs. People thought they made some halfway decent moves. You would have said, okay, maybe running back, you got some issues, but you could fix something there. You would have looked at the Dallas Cowboys at the beginning of the year and said to yourself, I would not be surprised if this team won the NFC East. I would not be surprised if this team won the NFC East. You play the games, and this is what happens, right? Like the evaluation of after the season, once we're armed with hindsight, which is always 2020, once we are armed with that, it's so much easier for us to start nitpicking at what the team was. Whenever Dallas started losing a bunch of games, it was, oh, man, yeah, that defense is bad. That interior defensive line is bad. We can't stop anybody because our corners are injured, right? You have to remember that. DeRon Bland and Trayvon Diggs missed extended periods of time throughout the season. Micah Parsons missed extended periods of time throughout the season. Dak Prescott missed the majority of the season. You have to legitimately take those things into consideration. You have to. Gary Bryant saying the Dallas Cowboys have some talent, but they're football dumb. John Madden said that about the Vikings running back Leroy Horde. There we go. That's who I wanted to think about who it was. I couldn't think of the guy. I knew it was John Madden. I couldn't think of who he was talking about, though. So that's awesome for you to give me that information. Leroy Horde. You need 3 yards for a first down, he'll get you 3 yards. You need 5 yards for a first down, he'll get you 3 yards. I love that. That's a great adage. Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it greatly. The Dallas Cowboys being in the conversation right now, it's one of those things where you kind of think about, okay, what can the future for the Dallas Cowboys do as we get closer to draft day? Remember, tomorrow on draft day, April 24th, I'm going to be live over at Twin Peaks. We're going to have a show set up. I'm going to have my mock draft that we're going to be doing tomorrow, my first mock draft 1.0 for this year. We'll go over that together here tomorrow on the show, and we'll see if y'all agree with me that, players are going to go where players are going to go. Man, that was a good conversation. I always love whenever we can get some of those good conversations because it reminds me that no matter what happens with the Dallas Cowboys, it's always going to be something that you can rely on as a great topic. Similar to Just the Tip.
I just want to put the tip in.
It's time for
Just the Tip.
That would make me uncomfortable.
Promise that it ain't too much, but just enough. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip? Just the tip.
It's time for Just the Tip.
Just the Tip is brought to you by our friends over at www.myhappynuts.com. Visit myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton and save up to 15% or more on all of your male grooming needs. www.myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton. Use that promo code Mike Tipton and save on all of your male grooming needs. I keep being asked, is it a real product? Yes, it is 100% a real product. Get rid of chafing. Get rid of all the nastiness, especially as it gets hotter in the year. Get rid of all that stuff. Be nice and refreshed with www.myhappynuts.com. Mireya Reyes saying that we are also armed with 30 years of bad decisions by the front office, not just one season of hindsight. You can say 30 years of bad decisions by the Dallas Cowboys, but it hasn't been. Like it just flatly hasn't been. We're talking about a guy who less than 4 years ago was called by his peers the executive of the year for the way that he built the franchise around the Dallas Cowboys, by the team that he was able to put on to the field, overcoming injuries and things of that nature. The Dallas Cowboys have consistently drafted well. As a matter of fact, they had 2 guys this year that they drafted that are going to be surefire Hall of Famers that just retired. It's not 30 years of bad decisions by the front office. It's 30 years of not meeting expectations. But you can't blame that on the front office whenever you look at the franchise of the Dallas Cowboys and can consistently say, this is a playoff caliber team. I'm not feeling it this year, but up until this year, again, not just me, not just Cowboys fans, even people like Stephen A. Smith saying, yeah, the Dallas Cowboys have a ton of talent on the team. If the Dallas Cowboys have a ton of talent on the team, it's not the GM. The GM is bringing the talent to the team. It's not bad decisions by the front office. It's not Jerry Jones telling Dak Prescott, you're going to slide with 13 seconds left. Or whenever you're in a playoff game, we're going to have a trick play where Zeke Elliott's the center and there's no one else on the offensive line around him. Right? Like, that wasn't a Jerry Jones decision. And then you can say, well, he's the one who hired Mike McCarthy. Well, of course. But Mike McCarthy had a 65% win percentage while he was with the Dallas Cowboys. Just like Cowboys fans can't get too high or too low, fans of other teams can't look at the Cowboys and be like, it's this one thing all the time, because it's not. It just flatly is not. Gary Bryant saying DeMarvion Overshown will be out until midseason as well, coming off that ACL injury that he had. Jerry Jones saw the attention Nico Harrison got and said, let me hold my beer. Hold my beer. You're getting attention over there, Nico Harrison? Now it's my turn. Shout out to Big Bill Brooks, who tuned in over on Instagram. Josh B. Lifton and Drea Thomas, who tuned in over on Instagram as well. Thank you all so much for being a part of today's show. Mireya Reyes saying, okay, let's give awards for not winning the championship. Let's give awards for great decisions. You're the one who brought up, okay, they made bad decisions. I'm saying they didn't make bad decisions. I'm not saying give awards for it. I've been firm on this belief. It don't matter if you make it to the Super Bowl. All that matters is that you win the Super Bowl. I'm not the one saying, oh, give them an award for being a good decision-making team. There was a weird noise over there off the side of my house. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the ghost has come into my body. I'm not saying give awards for that, but I'm saying you can't blame the shortcomings of this team solely on one thing. It's not the decisions of the front office. That's not a factual statement at all, period. End of discussion. That is not fact. They have built a fantastic roster with what they were given, especially having to navigate the fact that they were one of the worst teams in salary cap hell and purgatory that they are no longer in, at least at this exact moment. Tommy Cadazza saying Jerry Jones is an idiot. I think that's what it is with Tommy. Tommy saw Nico Harrison. Tommy is looking at Jerry Jones right now. He had to deal with the debacle of Fenway Sports Group and what they had with the Red Sox over the last couple of years, and maybe, just maybe, they're getting a little bit better. Tommy Carranza has had to deal with a lot of bad decisions by GMs, and he's just jaded right now. I totally get it. He is just jaded right now. Who saw Tommy? It'll be okay. I assure you, it'll be okay. As we move on here. Once again, the Dallas Cowboys have $37 million in salary cap that they can play around with. So maybe that's going to help them out with some stuff. But again, even coming into this draft, they have so many issues along this team that they have to be able to make some sort of splash to be competitive in this division. Because right now, you're not better than Philadelphia. You're not better than Washington. You are the third place team in the NFC East, maybe. We got to see how Russell Wilson and them boys do in New York, right? But on paper right now, you're the third place team. So you have to do something to compete with those two teams because Washington, even though they overachieved, now they have a level of expectation upon them. The same thing with Philadelphia. You won a Super Bowl, now there's level of expectation. No one's going to look at the team and say, oh, well, Philadelphia lost all these players. Maybe, just maybe, we need to dial back expectation. It doesn't work that way. So the Dallas Cowboys need to do something. That $37 million in salary cap, maybe that's something that can help them out. Maybe that's something that they can help them out. And we know that that'll go to draft picks, practice squad people, injury settlements, incentives, all kinds of things like that. But right now they have $37 million in salary cap that they're able to work with. That's all I'm saying. I also don't believe that they're going to make any really big splashy moves. I feel like I'm setting myself up for failure. I want to see them make some big splashy moves, but I know better. I genuinely feel like I know better with the Dallas Cowboys. I hate that I love that team. I genuinely do. Tommy Canazza saying, I thought Jerry was an idiot way before Nico. Way before Nico Harrison proved that he too was a massive moron. Nico Harrison to me has to go down as one of the biggest scapegoats in all of sports history. He just has to. I'm a firm believer. Like, he did what he had to do. I don't think it was necessarily his decision, his fault, anything else like that. He just did what he had to do. And unfortunately for him, it wasn't that great. It wasn't something that turned out to be that great for him. Oh, man. Nonetheless, the Dallas Cowboys in the news because of their owner, Jerry Jones, coming out saying some outlandish stuff. Sorry, guys, I got a message that I got to get to right now. There we go. Got that done. Sorry, guys. Every now and again, you just got to do business guy stuff. Okay. Got that taken care of. I always love whenever I get random messages about business stuff in the middle of my show. Like, shouldn't you guys be paying attention? Like, you want to do stuff with the show? Shouldn't you know what time the show is airing at? Nonetheless, I'll be all right. Woosah. Woosah. Tommy Canassa saying, I would have quit if they told me to trade Luka Doncic. That's one, that's one of the things, right? Like, whenever it comes down to you got one of the best players in the league, you're going to trade that guy. It just seems like a huge, huge mistake. Speaking of Luka Doncic and them boys, the LA Lakers tie up the series against the Minnesota Timberwolves with a 94-85 win. It really felt like, even though LA was up by as much as 23 at certain points in the game, it felt like they were really trying to give that game away. Minnesota just, for whatever reason, couldn't make buckets. at all to save their life. But they did what they needed to do. They split the series in LA. They get to come back home for 2 straight in Minnesota. You hold home court. Now you've got all the pressure on the LA Lakers. The Lakers are not a good team, guys. They just flatly aren't. They needed a Herculean type of performance from Luka Doncic yesterday in order to get that win. I'm holding steadfast on what I said. I don't believe that the Lakers will make it out of the first round of the playoffs. If they do, they will definitely not make it out of the second round of the playoffs. Rui Hachimura had 11 points, LeBron James with 21, Jackson Hayes with 2, Austin Reeves with 16, and then you had Luka Doncic carrying the team, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, a couple of blocks in there as well. Luka Doncic had to carry this team. But whenever you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards going 10 of 22, that's not going to happen again. Mike Conley 0 for 5. Rudy Gobert 2 for 5. Jaden McDaniels 3 of 11. Julius Randle 9 of 17. Naz Reid 3 of 8. We're looking at a bad shooting performance by this team that is going to be very difficult for the LA Lakers to replicate on defense again. Now, I will say the pressure that LA was putting on them was something that I guess Minnesota wasn't ready for. JJ Redick had them basically doing a version of a full court press all the way through the game. And it put a lot of pressure on the guards for Minnesota. A lot of dumb turnovers early in the game that gets them down by 23 points going into the half, right? They ultimately cut it back. It winds up being a 15-point game at halftime, a 15-point game at the end of the third quarter, and then they wind up losing by 9. But it felt like at any point in that fourth quarter, it felt like if they just got a bucket or two, we're talking about a completely different game. And it really was that kind of way with the LA Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota shot themselves in the foot. Lakers, you did what you had to do. You won a game at home. Awesome. Go on the road and win a game in Minnesota. That's what you're going to have to do next. But you need a better performance out of everybody other than just Luka. LeBron getting you 21 points on 19 shots, not going to do it. Not going to do it. I was expecting a LeBron James 25-point night. Didn't do it. He had a lot of opportunities going 1 for 5 from 3. It just wasn't a good all-around showing by the King. I like what they call him now, the King and his Prince. Prince Luka. Prince Luka out here with the King LeBron James. Other games in the NBA playoffs. We saw the Memphis Grizzlies absolutely get dominated once again. Once again, the Grizzlies getting dominated by the Thunder, 118-99. It wasn't a 51-point win this time. It was just a 19-point win. In the last 2 games, the Memphis Grizzlies outscored by 68 points. That is a wild number to think about. Outscored by 68 points. Do you know how hard it is to get outscored by that type of amount? Wild. Absolutely wild. And the thing is, as I was watching this game, because I watched both games, as brutal as it was to watch those games, I was watching both of them. And you see in the second quarter, Ja Morant gets a ball right under the hoop. He turns around, he throws up an absolute brick and has an opportunity to get an offensive rebound. And what does he do? He just walks away from the ball. That's not what you want to see from your star player if you're the Memphis Grizzlies. And if you're Ja Morant, that can't be the lasting impression that you have in the NBA playoffs as you have an opportunity to actually win a game. They were not down by a whole bunch at that point. They had actually got the lead down to 9 or 8 and had an opportunity to make a run. Ja Morant does that lazy little shot, has the ball bounce right in front of him, and instead of going for the offensive rebound, just starts jogging up the court like he's playing on defense, like he's getting ready to play on defense. If you are the leader of this team. Tommy Cananza saying, so you're saying there's a chance. Whose chance are we talking about here, Tommy? We talking about the Lakers? Because I'm not saying there might be a chance they win this series. I don't see it happening. They definitely won't make it out of the second round. This is not a team that is going to win a championship. There's no chance in hell that the LA Lakers are winning a championship. The Memphis Grizzlies, though, going back to Memphis now, down 0-2, losing by an average of 34 points per game in this series so far. That is wild, man. Absolutely wild to think of. Looking at the box score, Jaren Jackson leading the way for the Grizzlies with 26 points. Ja Morant had 23 points, but a -7 on his plus-minus. So with both of those guys on the team, they had a -27, which means the team was outscored by 27 points when the two of them were on the court together. Then you bring in Zach Edey. They were outscored by 40 points. This team does not match up well at all against the Oklahoma City Thunder. From 51-19, you know what? There is a chance. There is. That shows exponential improvement, Tommy. I like the optimism here. I love the optimism here. There we go. That's the Tommy. That's the Tommy I'm used to seeing. The overly optimistic Tommy Cananza. That's who I'm used to seeing. Thank you. I'm glad that guy made an appearance today. I was starting to get a little worried about you, my guy. I don't care if it's sarcasm. I'm taking it. Shout out to Carrillo Abroad for tuning in over on Instagram as well. Thank you all so much. If you're over on the Instagram channel, be sure to follow me on Facebook, on YouTube, at Mr. Tipton 33. We're always putting the show out in all different areas that we can possibly put the show out. Chet Holmgren, 20 points. Jalen Williams, 24 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 27 points, but he had a terrible shooting night. The Oklahoma City Thunder are doing this without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing his absolute best. I don't know if it's rust. I don't know what it is, what the issue seems to be, but he goes 10 of 29 from the field, 27 points. Did a good job on defense, had a couple of steals, had a couple of blocks, got 8 boards, 5 dimes. He was doing his thing. That's the MVP of the league. If you haven't been paying attention to basketball, the MVP of the league is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It should be Nikola Jokic because he's an unstoppable loaf of bread that plays basketball really well. But the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP of the league. Played 38 minutes yesterday, but again, a terrible, terrible shooting night for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Isaiah Hartenstein the other day had himself a good day, came back down to earth. 6 points, 10 boards. A block in there as well. The bench not doing all that great for Oklahoma City, but they didn't have to. That's the thing, is this game wasn't at any point a challenge. You could see that in the second half, Oklahoma City just kind of took their foot off the gas. And we're like, you know what? I think we're happy with what we've got for now. I think we're happy with what we've got for now. They wind up getting that 118-99 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies. Chipping away from 51-point beatdown to a 19-point closer game, I think we could say. Moral victories. I like that. We're all about moral victories here on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. We're going to have all the moral victories in the world. If we're going to be Dallas Cowboys fans, we got to have our moral victories. I hate that I love that team. In the Eastern Conference, you had game 2 between the Pacers and the Bucks. Damian Lillard makes his return to the lineup for the Milwaukee Bucks. Played 37 minutes, but only had 14 points, -7 in the plus-minus here for the Milwaukee Bucks as well. 14 points for him, 34 for Giannis Antetokounmpo, but the Pacers get the win, 123-115. That is huge because the Indiana Pacers, that is a stranglehold in the NBA, especially in the playoffs. You held home court, you split in Milwaukee, you come back with a 3-1 series lead to Indiana, and you have 3 chances to end the series. I like what the Pacers are doing, even though Tyrese Halliburton was voted just yesterday as the most overrated player in the NBA. That's such a mean thing to do to somebody. Former New Mexico State standout Pascal Siakam, 24 points, 11 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, filling up the stat sheet. Tyrese Halliburton, 21 points, 12 assists, 5 boards, 3 turnovers for him, though, as he was voted the most overrated player in the NBA by NBA players. That is such a wild thing for me that, like, I can't believe those words came out of my mouth. I can't believe that they actually had a vote to see who the most overrated player in the NBA was as voted by his peers. That's such a mean thing to do to somebody. Nonetheless, it happened. Poor Tyrese Halliburton, the most overrated player in his in the league as of now. Later on today, though, you got the Orlando Magic taking on the Boston Celtics. Boston with a 1-0 lead in that series. That's going to be the first game, 5 p.m. tonight on TNT, True TV, and Max. Then you have on NBA TV the Miami Heat taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Heat are a huge underdog in that game. Bet the Cleveland Cavaliers in that game as well. And then, of course, Houston taking on the Golden State Warriors. That, again, to me, going to be the best matchup of the NBA playoffs so far that we've had this year. All right, everybody. Remember, tomorrow we are going to be live at Twin Peaks. We're going to have ourselves a special draft show. I'd like to see as many of y'all come on out there, have ourselves a good old time. Maybe come on, be a part of the show as well. I'll have a microphone set up for you that you can just talk into. Give me your hottest takes. We'll see how that goes. Again, tomorrow for the NFL draft over at Twin Peaks. I hope to see you all out there. In the meantime, we will be back tomorrow on the Tipping Point with my Tipton, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I will finally debut my NFL mock draft. I have the top 32 picks for the first round of the NFL's mock draft, my first ever mock draft that we're doing on the show. Did a whole bunch of production and stuff like that for it, so I'm hoping that it's going to turn out as fantastic as it possibly can be. It's probably going to be a crapshoot, but nonetheless, I'm going to be a happy guy because I get to do my first ever mock draft. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being a part of today's show. I appreciate the love and support, and we will see you all tomorrow. You all know there are hundreds of betting sites out there, but don't be fooled. Some sites are legal in some states only. Some sites pay in Bitcoin, and some sites have even been hacked. However, BetUS has been in business for over 30 years. They have future bets that are paying out in the thousands, and there's still time for you to bet on the Super Bowl, the National Championship, and even the NBA Championship. Just use the QR code right here, and it'll take you to the BetUS site. BetUS. Check it out and bet responsibly. Are you a fellow car guy? I have a 2008 Ford Mustang GT convertible, and nothing makes me happier in that car than when it's nice and clean. And you know who helps me get there? RevAutoCarCare.com. They help me get that pony looking as nice and shiny and ready for any of the car meetups that are all around the great city of El Paso. Spoil your car and go to RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton and view all the inventory they have and find out what works for you to help make your ride shine. RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton. Use promo code Tipton33 at checkout to save 15%.